Yeah, so we're now going on with this part on climate measures. The first part is continuous measures. As we described in the introduction, we are installing data loggers in the case farms to measure continuously the temperature and the relative humidity inside the case farms. So where to install this data logger? Yeah, well, possibly the data logger should be in the junction between the bedded area, which is this one, between the junction of this bedded area and the feeding lane. So approximately on this line here. Okay, so on this line, right, in this area. So that's the center. What's the center of this one? This one. Okay, so this is gonna be the center. So in this spot is good to install the data logger. Yeah, the data logger for the continuous measures of the climate characteristics inside the case farms. Okay, so it might be tricky to install these data loggers, but you will find a spot. Generally, I have installed 4 of them, and no, actually 8 of them, and we always found a spot. So obviously it depends on the characteristics of the structure. There might be posts in here, but just pay attention to place these data loggers in a place where it's safe, is repaired from the cows and repaired from the action of the cultivation or whatever's going on within this housing. Okay, so move on with the discontinuous measures, which might be the most tricky part of this protocol. So we have agreed we are going to measure with a portable instrument or instruments several different parameters inside and outside case and reference farms during the visits. So during all of the 6 visits, we are going to take discontinuous measures with a portable handheld instrument. So these measures, obviously there are changes. So the microclimate can change within the building, so we need multiple measuring spots to get a correct overview of the microclimate inside the building. So we need to identify the spots. Okay, so let's open this the annex. So the annexes for the discontinuous measures of climate and bedding are in this folder, Annex 3. So let's take a look at this first sheet, which is for the reference farms. So this was gently done by the Dutch colleagues and was already used in the during the visits that occurred already in Germany and in the Netherlands. So that's the fill-in sheet for the climate measure, discontinuous climate measures in the reference farms. So as you can see, there are a lot of spots where you have to measure these parameters. So we have decided that regardless of the housing, so regardless of the layout of the barn, we are going to take 16, actually 15 measures in this type of housing systems. So as you can see below the table, there are some examples of layouts, possible layouts of reference farms. So let's take for this example this kind of layout, which is very similar to the one that we have used previously. So there is just one unique building with two pens. That's obviously it's based on freestyle housing. So there are two pens, one for the dry cows and one for the lactating cows. Okay, so we are going to start marking down the date, the hour of the measure, and the farm code. So in this case the farm code is going to be ITR, which stands for reference, and I don't know the number, in this case 1, and the surname of the farmer. Okay, so the building, what's the building we are in now? The building is the building A, and again, just remember to reference always to the description of the buildings. Okay, so in this building, which is this kind of 3-row cubicle barn, we are going to identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So actually there are less than these 15 spots. So there are just 5. So that's for just one pen, by the way, right? So we have decided that we are not measuring these climate microclimate characteristics in the dry cows pen, but it was done in some previous visits done in the Netherlands and in Germany. So if you have time to measure the climate also in the dry cows pen, you can do that and use these spaces in here. So, but you have to identify some other spots, right? So let's take this example just for the lactating cows. So I'm going to measure just the microclimate within the pen A1 lact. Okay, so just this pen in here, right? So in this pen I'm going to identify 6 areas evenly spread across the resting area, which might be this one. Can you see that? I hope so. This one within the blue rectangle, and 2 virtual areas or measuring spots in the feeding area, okay, which is this red rectangle. Okay, so I'm gonna measure in each of these 8 spots. I'm going to measure the airspeed, okay, which is expressed in meters per second. And during the training, we have noticed that the airspeed may change rapidly. So we suggest to, and especially it depends on the sensitivity or accuracy of your instrument, we suggest to use hot wire anemometers that might be very sensible. So during your measuring time, this airspeed is going to change rapidly. We need to record the average airspeed during that particular measuring time, which is going to be around 10 seconds. 10 seconds should be enough. So you need to watch your the screen of your instrument for 10 seconds and try to mark down the most representative or the mean value of those 10 seconds for the airspeed. Okay, so the other parameters like relative humidity, temperature, and light, they shouldn't change as much as airspeed. So you just mark down the most representative value, but that they should be rather stable during the visit. So this time I can mark down the time. So let's say I have started at noon. Okay, so we just have let me see, 8 anyway. Okay, so copy without formatting, and yeah, so we're gonna fill this one. Actually that was wrong, sorry. Yes, okay, so we're gonna fill all of these cells. Okay, so 8 spots, all of these cells will need to be filled with values.